Hi, everyone. Steve Adubato. We are honored to have the Honorable Speaker of the House, the Speaker of the Assembly, Craig Coughlin, with us. Speaker Coughlin, great to see you.
Nice to see you, Steve. Thanks for having me back.
Your candid opinion about New Jersey's fiscal health in 2025 is?
We're in good shape. I mean, we have work to do, but overall, we're paying our bills. Making full pension payments, something that hasn't year after year after year, which hasn't been done in decades. We've contributed more to school funding than ever before. We still have a healthy surplus to make sure we can help weather some storms. And we're focused and continue to have the kind of relief for New Jersey taxpayers that we have been striving for now. There's $4.3 billion in the budget for property tax cuts in terms of anchor, in terms of freeze, and the new program Stay NJ, which I think is going to be a transformative.
There's money for that, Mr. Speaker? There's money to pay for that.
There's money to pay for that.
Well, let me ask you this. With all the uncertainty in the federal government, and again, this is the end of March, we don't know what's really going to happen. How concerned are you about federal cuts to state governments like New Jersey, who ultimately serve communities and people in the state? Frankly, how can you be that confident knowing all the uncertainty going on in D.C.?
You asked me, the question was, what is the state of New Jersey's finances? And I said that we're sound. We have some challenges. We have a structural deficit, but we're going to work on that. We have done things like cut costs before. Last year, relatively unnoticed, we cut about $400 million out of the budget once the legislature had it. Basically paid for things we added back in. But I'm incredibly concerned about what's going to happen at the federal government level, right? 2.2 million people take advantage of Medicaid in the state of New Jersey. A huge cut to that would be devastating. Education funding. We know that the Department of Education is being dismantled.
That's right.
And what about everyone whose children and the students who have their dreams tied to things like Pell Grants? How's that going to work? What about special needs kids? All of much of that money comes from the federal government. And so, those kind of things. And personally, as you know, Steve, I've made the cornerstone of my speakership the fight against food insecurity. So if we're going to talk about SNAP cuts, then again, we those are things that are going to be really detrimental, and candidly, that they're just bad. They're wrong. They're not bad policy. They're just morally wrong.
To what degree do you think, Speaker Coughlin, most people understand the real impact on people's lives of they're cutting this, they're cutting the fat in the federal government, they're getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, and the waste, fraud, and abuse is there. But to what extent do you think people understand that real lives are at stake here?
Well, I think everybody understands it a little bit, and then everybody understands it a lot when it comes home to roost. Look, I said to you, we cut $400 million out of the budget, roughly $400 million out of the budget last year. I'm not opposed to cutting government spending, having a surgical approach to eliminating things that are duplicative or are unnecessary. That's all good and fine. But that's not what we see in Washington, right? I mean, we literally had Elon Musk walking around with a chainsaw to signified he was just going to cut the hell out of. That's not the approach I would take, and that's not, I think, is what's good. So, do people understand that? Yes, they do. When it at some point, for all of us, things are abstract, right? They're like, hey, okay, they're going to cut money, but good, great, you know what I mean? But when it now comes and their daughter, who's going to be a doctor, doesn't have a Pell Grant, has struggles to try to figure out she's going to get to the next semester of school. When your father or your grandfather no longer has the Medicaid benefits they need, when your next door neighbor's kid is food insufficient, you figure it out because they're hanging around your house and your kids you're making sure that they get something to eat. In those cases, it becomes really real, and that's what I worry about. When we talk about government layoffs, right? And look, Governor Murphy there's 6,000 less people than when Governor Murphy started. Okay, so it's not about the notion of being opposed to reducing workforce and cutting spending. Those are things that I embrace when they're right and when they're good. But when you just lay off a whole class of people, and that's when it comes home. You know what I mean? Because so many New Jerseyans are just 1 or 2 paychecks away from going from food donors to food recipients from pantries and things like that. And I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but it's true, right? And with the cost still going, inflation has come. It's now leveled off, but it was frankly, it was leveled off. By the way, it was leveled off on election day in 2024. But so with all of those things, added cost, losing your job, that can be a real hardship for people.
A quick question on childcare. We have an initiative that we're involved in that talks about the importance of access to affordable quality childcare. The graphic is up for First 1,000 Days Policy Coalition. Here's the question. With the new governor, there'll be a new governor in January 2026. Where does the importance of childcare fit into your agenda, Mr. Speaker?
Well, it's critically important, right? It is particularly important for young families. We've invested in it. There's money in the budget for it, and so. But I can tell you how important it is because I now have 2 precious grandchildren. Right? They're about 2 years old. My wife cares for them a couple of days a week, and then they have somebody else who cares for them the other days. All of my children and their spouses work. Their family life it would be different if they had to pay for 5-day-a-week childcare. It's expensive. It's really expensive. And on some level, you understand that because you want our most precious assets to be in a place that is the best it could possibly be. But having childcare and letting parents be able to fulfill their dreams and careers, to let them be successful, which helps us all. By the way, we are all better off when everyone is successful. If every New Jerseyan could achieve the best that they're capable of, we'd all be really better off. So childcare matters an awful lot.
The Speaker of the Assembly, Craig Coughlin, joining us once again to talk about some critical issues. And the Speaker will be back with us in a few months, giving us an update, not just on the budget, but a whole range of other issues as the entire state assembly is up for election in November 2025, as there'll be an election for governor in November 2025. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Steve. Appreciate it.
You got to stay with us. We'll be right back.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. IBEW Local 102. The Turrell Fund, a foundation serving children. Operating Engineers Local 825. New Brunswick Development Corporation. New Jersey Sharing Network. NJM Insurance Group. United Airlines. The New Jersey Education Association. And by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State. Promotional support provided by ROINJ and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
NJM Insurance Group has been serving New Jersey businesses for over a century. As part of the Garden State, we help companies keep their vehicles on the road, employees on the job, and projects on track. Working to protect employees from illness and injury, to keep goods and services moving across the state. We're proud to be part of New Jersey. NJM, we've got New Jersey covered.